There's a strange kind of discomfort that no one warns you about. It's not loud. It's not even clear. It just lingers, like an ache in your chest when you're alone, or a tension in your shoulders that never fully softens. It's the pain of trying to live two versions of yourself at once. You want to be honest, but you also want to be liked. You want to move on, but you're still ashamed. You want to change, but a part of you still believes you're not worthy of better. So you do what many of us do. You sit uncomfortably between two chairs. One chair is called truth. The other is called shame. You try to balance, but the weight of your internal conflict pulls you from side to side. You're exhausted, you're confused, and worst of all, you blame yourself for not having it together. But what if this isn't weakness? What if this strange, silent discomfort is your soul begging for alignment? Because here's the thing, you cannot sit in both chairs forever. At some point, you must choose, not between good or bad, success or failure, but between self-rejection and self-honesty. And this choice, it's not just emotional, it's a mindset shift, one of the hardest and most powerful life lessons anyone can learn. Most people think mindset is about motivation. Get up, power through, push harder. But the most profound mindset shift doesn't begin with effort. It begins with truth. It's the moment you stop pretending you're okay. It's when you stop blaming the world and start listening to what your body, your breath, your emotions have been whispering all along. You're not broken. You're just tired of hiding. That voice, that flicker of honesty, is your chance to choose a new mindset. One built not on denial, but on acceptance. One that sees mistakes not as identity, but as teachers. One that says, yes, I messed up. Yes, I failed. But I'm still worth loving, and I'm not going to abandon myself anymore. This is where real transformation begins. Not in a book, not in a seminar, but in that raw, private moment where you stop sitting on two chairs and finally decide to sit fully in your own truth. You want to feel better. You want to let go. You've read the quotes, you've done the journaling, but somehow you still feel like you're living on the edge of your own life. Why? Because part of you wants to heal, and another part doesn't believe you deserve to. This is the core conflict that destroys your inner peace. It's not your past. It's not what they said. It's not the trauma itself. It's the inner split. The quiet war between who you are now and who you believe you should have been. And that war, it eats you alive from the inside out. The hidden voice of shame. There's a voice inside you that whispers, if people really knew me, they'd leave. I've failed too many times. I don't deserve to feel whole. And what do? You smile. You cope. You distract. You tell others you're just going through a rough patch. You stay productive. You act strong. But deep down, a part of you is still waiting for permission to exist. That's what shame does. It teaches you that mistakes mean you are a mistake. That your worst moment defines your worth. That if you're not perfect, you're not enough. But here's the truth that most people never learn, and it's one of the most important life lessons you'll ever understand. Shame isn't healed by proving you're good. It's healed by accepting that you don't have to be. The root of self-rejection. Where does this inner divide begin? Sometimes it starts in childhood, being told to behave, be quiet, stop crying. Other times it's heartbreak, humiliation, or betrayal that plants the seed. Eventually, we internalize one dangerous idea. I must reject parts of myself to survive. So we split. We become the version of ourselves that's acceptable. We hide our grief, our fear, our insecurity, not because we're weak, but because we were never taught how to hold it. This isn't just emotional. It becomes our mindset, a hidden operating system that says, Don't get too close. Don't trust too fast. Don't show who you really are. And even when we want to heal, that mindset remains, quietly sabotaging every attempt at connection, self-love, or growth. This split has a cost. You lose your voice. You apologize when you haven't done anything wrong. You stay small, agreeable, invisible. You develop patterns, overworking, overgiving, overthinking, just to outrun the ache inside. But no matter how fast you run, the pain follows, because you can't run from a part of yourself and feel whole at the same time. Here's the hard truth, and maybe the most liberating one. No one can fully accept you until you stop rejecting yourself. And that means doing something you've avoided for a long time. Looking straight at the part of you that feels unworthy, and not looking away. The power of inner return. You don't need more information. You need integration, a returning, a quiet, honest moment where you say, I see you. I know you hurt, but I will not abandon you again. This is not weakness. This is a new mindset, one that doesn't rely on pretending to be healed, but on the bravery of showing up, even while you're still bleeding. Because here's what most people miss. The wound is not your enemy. Hiding it is. And once you stop hiding, the healing begins. Not with a bang, but with a breath. Not with applause, but with truth. Not in public, but in private, where the real work happens. There's a common lie people believe when they're trying to heal. I just need to be more positive. So they repeat affirmations. They scroll through inspirational posts. They smile harder. They say, I'm fine, with extra enthusiasm, hoping that if they just act like they're okay long enough, it will become true. But inside, they still feel broken, unseen, divided. Here's the truth that very few have the courage to admit. Trying to be positive when you're carrying emotional pain doesn't free you. It isolates you further. Because positivity without truth is just another mask. What real mindset work looks like. If you're serious about transformation, here's the life lesson no one teaches in self-help books. A healing mindset is not about feeling better. It's about becoming real. Real enough to say, I'm still hurting. I feel ashamed. I don't know how to forgive myself. I'm afraid people won't love the real me. And then to keep breathing through that honesty instead of shutting it down. This is radical. Not because it's loud, but because it's emotionally naked. And that is where true freedom begins. The moment you stop performing for your life and start participating in it. The trap of good vibes only. We live in a culture that rewards emotional perfection. Smile for the camera. Stay grateful. Don't be too much. But this obsession with constant positivity is not healing. It's a form of avoidance. Imagine trying to clean a wound by covering it with glitter. It looks better, but it still hurts. It might even get worse. That's what happens when you layer fake optimism over real emotional pain. You don't get better. You get quieter. You stop asking for help. You tell yourself to be grateful, even when your soul is aching for something more than just survival. The mindset of truth. Here's a different mindset, a braver one that actually works. I can hold space for what's true, even if it's painful, without abandoning myself. That means you can say, I was wrong, without collapsing into shame. I feel lost, without making it mean you're weak. I haven't healed yet, without rushing to fix it. This mindset doesn't give you shortcuts. It gives you access to your own integrity, your own story, your own wholeness. And once you taste that kind of truth, you'll realize you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be honest. Because honesty is how we reconnect. It's the bridge between our past and our possibility. And without it, every positive thought becomes another way to suppress what's real. One of the hardest life lessons. This might be one of the most difficult life lessons you'll ever learn. You can't heal by pretending you're already healed. You can't bypass your own pain with nice words or spiritual quotes. You have to go through it. You have to feel the weight of what you've denied. You have to sit in the one chair, the one called truth, and stay there long enough to stop flinching. That's not comfortable, but it's powerful. And that power, that's what your new mindset is made of. Life lessons aren't given, they're chosen. There's a quiet hope many of us carry deep down, that one day, things will just click. The fog will lift, the pain will pass, someone will come along and say the perfect thing, and finally, we'll be ready to move on. But that day never comes, not because you're incapable of healing, but because you're still waiting for a moment that only you can create. Here's a truth most people never realize. Life doesn't hand you lessons. You choose them when you're ready to stop hiding. The myth of readiness. You think healing starts when you feel strong enough, but most people wait their entire lives to feel ready. Ready to face the truth. Ready to stop apologizing for who they are. Ready to love themselves even with the scars. But here's the twist. Readiness is a byproduct of courage, not a prerequisite. The longer you wait for life to teach you the lesson, the longer you stay stuck in the same emotional pattern. It's not the pain that traps you, it's the waiting. The hope that somehow things will shift without you having to choose. But every breakthrough, every real mindset shift begins with a decision. Not a dramatic one, a quiet one. The kind that sounds like, I'm done living halfway. I don't need to have all the answers to take the next step. I'd rather be real and raw than perfect and numb. Owning the chair you sit in. Remember the metaphor, sitting between two chairs? Here's what most people miss. You can't truly grow until you stop asking which chair is safer and start asking which chair is yours. This is where life lessons become real, not in theory, not in books, but in your body, in your nervous system, in the way you breathe differently when you stop pretending. And the lesson is this. The moment you choose to sit fully in your truth, you stop negotiating with pain and start relating to it. You don't erase the shame, you face it. You don't fix the past, you outgrow it. You don't become someone new, you finally become someone honest. The mindset of ownership. You've probably said this before. I know what I should do, I just haven't done it yet. But knowing is not the same as choosing. Knowing is passive, choosing is powerful. Mindset is not a concept, it's a relationship. A relationship between you and your choices. Between your fear and your willingness to feel it. Between your past and your permission to live beyond it. So if you want real change, don't ask, what's the lesson here? Ask, am I willing to choose this lesson, even if it hurts, even if it's hard, even if no one else understands? Because the most important life lessons aren't delivered by fate. They're chosen in moments of silence, when you finally decide that your wholeness matters more than your comfort. Letting the pain speak, and then letting it go. When you stop covering your shame with silence. When you stop dressing your fear in fake confidence. When you stop performing and start being. That's when you grow. That's when the life lesson becomes embodied. And from that place, raw, real, and awake, your mindset begins to shift, not just in words, but in energy. You stand taller, you speak differently, you look at yourself in the mirror, not with judgment, but with recognition. You stop saying, why am I still like this? And start saying, I've survived this, and now I get to grow from it. You've tried sitting between chairs. You've tried performing strength, faking positivity, earning worth. You've run from pain, denied the truth, dressed shame in silence. But now you know, that isn't life. That's survival. And survival is not what your soul came here for. What you want is wholeness. Not the kind that feels perfect, but the kind that feels like home. And here's the secret most never tell you. Wholeness doesn't arrive. You choose it every single day. The last chair isn't made of truth or shame. It's not a seat you have to earn, and it's not a throne of ego. It's a place of belonging. To your story, to your breath, to your mistakes, to your growth. This chair doesn't ask you to be anything. It simply asks, will you stay with yourself? Not just when you succeed, not just when you're proud, but also when you fall apart, when you repeat the old pattern, when you feel like nothing's working. Will you stay? That is the mindset of wholeness, not perfection, but presence. You're not going to wake up one day suddenly healed. Healing is not a finish line. It's a direction. It's the choice to show up as you are, even when it's uncomfortable. It's brushing your teeth while crying. It's saying no without guilt. It's writing "I forgive you" in your journal, even if you're not sure you believe it yet. Life lessons don't appear fully formed. They unfold through repetition, through kindness, through saying this is hard, but I'm here, and I choose myself anyway. If nothing else stays with you from this journey, let it be this. No one is rejecting you more than the part of you that hasn't learned how to stay. So stay. Stay when you're uncertain. Stay when you're ashamed. Stay when you're ready to run. Stay when your inner critic screams. Stay until you remember who you were before shame taught you to hide. This is the deepest life lesson. Healing is not escape. It is return. Return to truth. Return to self. Return to the chair that never stopped waiting for you. Look in the mirror. Place your hand gently over your chest and say, I choose me. I choose honesty. I choose wholeness, and I'm not leaving anymore. Then sit down, fully, softly, without apology, in the only chair that matters, your own. And if this message reached something tender inside you, subscribe for more gentle reminders, quiet truths, and moments that bring you back to yourself.